Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reacts, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Mingyang Ran, titled 41-1 off of the Roche Limit album. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves the album on the screen. Now, I believe this is not the first time I have reviewed Mingyang Ran's music. It'd be good to check out more. We're going to listen through it from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Get that up on the screen there, and let's go, let's do it.
41 minutes live because 40?
Really interesting production on the drum kit and guitars. Their vocal fry is amazing. Really good vocal technique. I mean, it's so visceral, just you get lost in the music, and it's so ferocious on the microphone. I think I understand what this track is about. We're going to talk about it more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Mingyang Ran, titled 41-1 off of the Roche Limit album. In this section, I'm going to be providing an overall song analysis from lyrics and vocals, all the way through to production, as well as any applicable constructive critique. And then finally, my general thoughts from a listener's perspective. But first of all, what do we think this track is about? I'm going to live with you. I didn't get all the words through clearly within this. It was quite a full sounding mix. There's quite a lot to pay attention to, but I did hear 41-1 and now she's gone. So without having been told, which I have been told what this track is about, without being told, I would assume that it was someone had gone. I would assume someone had passed away or something like that. What actually has happened, if I understand correctly, is I've been told that one of Mingyang Ran's classmates took their own life after their graduation thesis was overturned and she was pressured by her supervisor. And the song was written in her memory, and it's just so heavy, dude. It's always bittersweet because some of the best music comes from these really difficult situations. The inspiration, just the force, the passion behind it, the want to communicate how we feel about these things. But people, it's just terrible that occurred. You know, I'm so sorry for their loss. I don't know how else to say here. It's brutal, man. It's just so tough. but I'm thankful that we made this song. The vocal performance from Mingyang Ran was just tremendous, dude. Just tremendous. We are so charismatic and energized and ready to go. We are so full of vigor on the microphone there. Whether it's our sort of clean sung vocals or the parts of vocal fry near the end, we get particularly kind of wild with it. We have like these kind of growled fries, and then we go all the way up into our high power metal vocals. They're in an upper range there, and we're incredibly effective with our head and chest voice there. Our technique is superb. There are some vibratos, some really neat transitions there. I think this song is more about how everything kind of coalesces as opposed to one specific element guiding the entire thing. But regardless, I love the way that this track has been communicated, how we expressed ourselves. I think it's incredibly appropriate, and considering the subject matter, I'm not surprised that Mingyang Ran is crying out, because of course you would, man. It's horrible. And you've got that kind of spoken part at the start where he kind of starts really low key with the 41 minus 1 equals 40. And then you just get the further context as it just builds. And it's almost like we're figuring out how we feel about it as we go along. The track itself, outside of the vocal performance and how all the lyrics pair, or the subject matter paired to the style we did, at 3 minutes is literally right in the middle of the 2 to 4 minute sweet spot, where if it's less than 2 minutes, sometimes you're missing important context and it's undeveloped. If it's over 4 minutes, sometimes you've played things too much, or there needs to be further development in order to really sort of get a feel for things. I adore the fact that we've had as much range within us as we've had. We had various verses and choruses. There was the intro with the kind of like guitars and bass and drums there with the little vocal dubs. And we had like just really sensible transitions between. It was such a smooth experience, in part because of how full sounding it was, but also just the clear contrast between the progressions and that we had within those different verse and chorus parts was also very effective. From the kind of menace that we have with the low rumble of those guitars with the distortion there, the kind of grittiness of it, kind of before it rises up, you knew that you were in for a hell of a time. And we had the kind of we had like a kind of cut-off switch there, which is really cool. I like when people have cut-off switches on their guitars here just to kind of stutter the tone of it. And we have this kind of rolling, kind of rocky, bluesy riff there that kind of has a legato effect to it. It's very smooth. We explore the blues scale really neatly, and the piano, when it comes in alongside that, is dire sounding. It's just so heavy alongside those root notes. There's this dance beat alongside it though on the drums with the syncopated offbeats on the hi-hats there. We have a chord note sort of a groove for most of it, an eighth note groove with chord note accents. It's kind of like we're dancing through the pain that we're in, the difficulty of it. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what the music is trying to say. I know this frustration that is incurred or put forward by the tone and timbre of the instruments. It's kind of a fizzy tone to the drum kit that's kind of outside the usual sort of sound you'd expect from an acoustic kit, and I kind of like that industrial kind of feel there being a bit sort of messed up. I dig it. And you've got that kind of like change to the chorus, like again, like kind of disco. It's very much kind of we're dancing through the pain that we're feeling there, and we have these kind of vocal tails that rise in the upper ether there alongside the pianos, and I like the twinkles and the arpeggios and the keys there. We're trying to make it very kind of pretty sounding in the high range, I think, to maybe sort of contrast with the heaviness of a lot of those lower register elements in the verse parts. I think I dig those little fill transitions on the drums, but they're not too much at the same time. This track is mostly about the groove on the kit, and I've got to respect that. And I think the bass in general is very sort of supportive. And I've also just realized there are lyrics for this. I forgot to press the lyric button on here. You know, fingers trace the cracks in time, a heavy heart, a fragile mind, whispers echo cold and low. No one hears, no place to go. Yeah, dude, it's just so heavy listening through this. So just so you know, I have checked out the lyrics. You know, I'm looking at them now. It's very much kind of what we've already discussed there. Just further elaboration on that. She would never die being a key line here. No, if it wasn't for the pressure she had externally, I don't think she would have, and that's just the truth. Sing with me, she would never die, she would never die. Exactly, it's just, dude, this is phenomenal music. Just that guitar solo that we have at that point, though, is so bombastic and full of vigor and life there. But there's also a part of it where it kind of seems like it's tumbling down a little bit, almost like we've lost hope with it for a moment before we kind of build ourselves back up, our reserves. And there's a lot of really kind of finicky shred notes there, but it kind of forms into the ether there. It's like we're trying to be melodic with it, with some of the bends and the hammer-ons and pull-offs and all that kind of technique work. And we work well within the chord progression of the chorus there, but it's kind of discordant at the same time. I think we find a balance between the chaos as well as creating a nice alternate foil to the lead vocals. But going into that last chorus there, as we kind of build up towards the outro there, we sing with them, and it's just, at that point, especially if you are more familiar with the lyrics and you just want to sort of like find some healing from that, even though it's difficult to do so. It gets more and more distorted, I should note, as we go along towards the end there, which is just things being compressed and crushed there and the tension building. And then we just have that grunt and it ends. And it's not a happy ending for obvious reasons. How can you possibly kind of come back from it? But regardless, just you do feel that a tribute has been performed here. And I think that it's just really cool to write music like this when you're passionate about it. I think it's a fitting tribute. I think just as close as I don't know if I spoke about the bass, but I think the bass, with the way it works through the kind of lows and octaves and some of those sort of chorus parts, and kind of rolls with more of a sort of a rhythmic unison with the kick and snare grooves and the verse parts is nice. Ultimately, a really tight instrumental performance. Thematically, working through the kind of rocky blues scale, pentatonics, minor orients there is a sensible decision for the key signature. This isn't a happy situation we're describing there. And I like that we're not overcomplicating the harmonies that much there. There's a bit of sizzle and fizz to some of the chromatics in those blues scales, which infers attention, but we're also trying to keep it relatively, I think, because we're trying to make it more accessible to people at the same time. I think that's the key component here. Sometimes people will write music that they're really fucked off and they're really angry about what's happened, but it'll be so kind of, if you're not familiar with the subject matter, it'll be affronting in a way which it puts people off. Here, I think that Mingyang Ran has managed to find the happy point, or rather the kind of equilibrium between those two, having enough fire behind it to express what we want to properly, whilst also making it a catchy track that people sort of vibe along and want to sing along to, you know. Studio recording, mixing and mastering is tremendous. Even though the vocals weren't as loud in the mix as I'd want, I kind of appreciate why they're there. As the vocals get louder near the end, it's just kind of overcoming the noise, the swell of everything around us, I think. And typically the vocals were sort of processed well though, EQ, reverbs, etc. Same with the drums, guitar, bass, and piano there. It's just a really tight mix with some compositional dynamic range. Not a lot of production dynamic range, but I think here for 3 minutes is totally fine. Music surrounds you in headphones there. It's especially at the start there with the low kind of resonance and the tension there with the sort of spoken parts. It's just really well handled there in post, I think. Yeah, nice and loud, bit of pump in there, side chaining, bus compression, limiting is handled. No applicable constructive critique for this one. From a general listener's perspective, I think this is exactly what music is so good for. It's for communicating difficult subject matter in a way that people would maybe want to hear. I'm so sorry for everyone, I'm so sorry for their loss. Mingyang Ran's lost, for the woman's loss. There's just a lot of, it just didn't need to happen. She didn't need to die, and it just sucks. Clearly that's an understatement, but I don't want to seem like I'm making it about me when it's not. It's about the person that died. It's just, I feel a sadness there that's going to hang with me for a bit, simply. And I think that's the beauty of music, is when it can affect the listener like that. So in that instance, I just think this is an incredibly well-written song, and I'm not going to say any more because it's going to seem like I'm glazing, but ultimately I wish Mingyang Ran all the best of luck in future with their music. But thank you for watching my review of this track from an act named Mingyang Ran, titled 41-1 off of the Roche Limit album. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias and their Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.